thinking, what is this guy talking about? Today's topic is going to be a very interesting one because I'm going to be talking about the current state of affairs in the United States of America. And as someone that immigrated to the United States, I'm able to see things through the prisms of reality, not the reality that has been created for all of us. Stay tuned. I am going to delve into the story. Why I asked, have you ever been kicked by a donkey? I'm going to talk about American schools, television, and this topic here would help people who are immigrating to America, or if you already live here and do not understand how this system works. Welcome to Afridamo's Report. Stay tuned. Thank you for joining me. If you're new here, make sure you hit the like button and share the video. So today, I'm going to share a video that went viral. This is a video of a college professor berating one of her students because the student dared speak some common sense into the topic that they are discussing. I'm going to play it here for us to watch it together. And then I'm going to give you my what I think is happening here. I'm going to explain it in detail without mincing my words because I want you, the viewer, to understand what they are using on the general public. Because now common sense is not so common. You are not allowed to think for yourself. You are not allowed to look at things logically. What you're seeing, they have to be the ones explaining it to you. And as you can see in this video, this professor is going to exhibit her superiority over, this student. And, this has been going on forever. Myself here, I'm a parent. I remember when my son was 5 years old. One of the teachers told me, one day I came to school, he was in kindergarten, to pick him up. The teacher said to me, she decided that the kid is restless, so therefore she diagnosed him and prescribed Ritalin. Ritalin is a drug that they prescribe for kids, especially little boys, to quote unquote calm them down. So I listened to her. I was like, tell me more, because I don't like to cut people off. I want to hear exactly what she is saying. I don't want to be confused. I don't want to assume that she is trying to say something whatsoever. No, I wanted to hear her out. So after she finished, I asked her, I said, so you are telling me that you expect a 5-year-old boy to sit still and focus for 2 hours straight. Does that sound normal to you? I said, and I didn't know that teachers are now in the business of diagnosing students. I didn't know the medical board has approved that. So she started panicking. She's like, oh, no. I said, and I told her to her face, I said, you're here to teach children or babysit, whatever you do here. I said, you do that, and you leave the rearing of my child to me. Teach him how to count and read, and you leave the rest to me. But we're gonna take it. This is not kindergarten. This is all the way to college level. And I did go to an American college as well. And I will give you that story. I have dealt with professors like this.
You brought up the police in your speech a few times. So what is your main concern? Since, honestly, the whole reason police, it is systemic. The issue is systemic because the whole reason we have police departments in the first place, where did it stem from? What's our history? Going back to what Jeremy was talking about, what does it stem from? It stems from people in the South wanting to capture runaway slaves.
Maybe they shouldn't be heroes. Maybe they don't.
So you see this professor here, who looks like somebody from Wakistan, one of Bin Laden's many concubines. This woman right here is quote unquote a professor. Can you believe that? What she is saying is totally lie. You can tell. They always try to talk about the history of this country. What about right now? What is happening? What you guys are doing is corrupt, and it's a lie. Saying, the police were created to go catch runaway slaves. That's not true. The first police department in the United States was set up in 1836, also in the Boston area. And you want to know something else? Slavery was abolished in Massachusetts at the time. In the East Coast, slavery was over with. So, she says slave catchers. Those people were more like private security. Those people were hired by slave owners, or the slave owners themselves get together and form their militia. And also, after the Reconstruction, guess what? When the South lost the war and they freed the slaves, the slave catchers, catching a slave was illegal. So therefore, they were disbanded. Those people were being arrested by today's current police. And then you have the fat vegan next to him saying, so you are not even allowed to express yourself. So the simple fact that this student said police are heroes is unacceptable to her. I'm going to let you hear more of this video and hear the nonsense that this quote-unquote professor is spewing.
So I disagree with what Jeremy said about it, because I think cops are heroes and they have to have a difficult job, but we have to have
all of them.
I'd say a good majority of them. You have bad people in every business and every part. Wait.
Police officers.
So you see the argument that she's trying to bring. When the student said, police are good people, they are heroes, their jobs are difficult. She said, all of them? Because their argument is petty and they always push it. Okay, if we too can play that game, there are tons of female teachers who have been caught having sex with their students. These are young students, 15, 16-year-olds. We've even had there's a famous lady who got pregnant by her student, ended up marrying the student. Yes, she went to prison, but these women, what punishment are they getting? They're getting away with it. So does that mean now, we should say all the female teachers are molesting their students? We could play her game and say all of them. Of course, she knows he's not saying all of them. Obviously, there's going to be some bad apples, just like there is bad teachers there. And now there is a whole lot of those, in America. Let's hear a lot of
committed atrocious crimes and have gotten away with it and have never been convicted of any of it.
And
And I
they,
say for a person who has family members who are police officers.
yes, I understand. And this is what I believe. This is my opinion. And this is, not popular to say, but I do support our police. We have bad people, and the people that do bad things should be brought to justice. I agree with that. But I think that, say it again.
They haven't.
Well, I agree with you on that point of they should, right?
Okay, so what is your bottom line point? You're saying
Look at the look on this woman's face. Tell me this woman is not a hate-filled woman. How can she be a professor if the student is more logical than her? Why are you sending your children to school? Why are you sending your kids to people like this just for them to chastise them and berate them for speaking common sense? She is bringing her own personal anger and hatred she has for the police because she has been indoctrinated by the American institutional system, the communist teaching. Now everything has to go their way. If you don't speak their language, you are the enemy. Because right now their agenda is to take the police down, and they would do anything and everything in their power to do that. They would silence you, they would shut you down, they would berate your children. This is no longer college. This is like coming to somebody's YouTube channel because now they are doing school virtually through the computer. You don't need to go to campus. But someone like me, I have dealt with professors like this. I've taken a class called Gender Studies class before. Just wanted to know what is going on. And in this Gender Studies class, this is the most illogical class. I have challenged their ideologies and debunked a whole bunch of them. It didn't even take me much. But the professor hated me. The students hated me. And college is supposed to be a place where people have dissenting views. But now that is not allowed in American colleges. Now they are becoming more and more obvious about it. You look around, people like this, a teacher. She claims to be a teacher, right? But the student has more logic than her. She missed out in critical thinking class. I don't think she's ever been to that class. How can she teach anyone? I'm looking at it. I don't know what subject she teaches, but I wouldn't be surprised that it's either gender studies or socialism or sociology. Pardon me.
these officers should be revered, viewed as heroes. They
I
belong
think
on
it's-
TV shows with children.
I
That's
think
what
they are
belongs.
heroes in a sense because they come to your need and they come and help you, and they have problems just like every other business, but we should fix that. But I think that they're heroes. Well,
I
they're
think
a
that's the problem,
program.
is looking at it as a business. Because they're actually supposed to protect and serve the people.
They do
not
protect us. Who do we call when we're in trouble and someone has a knife or a gun? We
I would
call
have
the
called the
police.
police.
Why would you call the police?
I don't trust them. My life's in more
Who would
danger
you call?
in their presence.
Professor, who would you call?
I wouldn't call anybody.
Well, would you have, if
I'm gonna
someone
put
intruded
the
your
phone in.
house with a gun, would you have a gun on you, or
No.
who would you call?
Sometimes you go.
Okay.
And I'm not
Fine.
gonna be
People
not
are either close with a gun, there's not much you can do. Calling the police is kind of just,
And I know that it's not popular for me to say that to you guys and people in here, but that's what I believe about the police.
Okay,
And,
thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you
you
guys
very
for listening to my point. I appreciate it. Thanks.
I will say, yeah, I'm glad you did say that, even if I disagree. It's important
Yeah,
that
and we should fight for the right for people to say things that we don't even like, right?
I may not agree with what you say, but I'll fight for your right to say it.
Amen.
Within some extent.
Okay, guys.
All right, you guys have seen when the student asked her, if somebody attacks you, pulls out a gun or a knife on you, who would you call? She said she wouldn't call the police. And Any logical mind knows she is lying. Any logical mind could easily look at this woman and say she has a trigger happy finger for 911. She would call. She got caught in her illogical lies. This is the people that are quote unquote teaching your children out there. People, wake up and smell the coffee. And for most of my fellow African immigrants, you people like to say, oh, they are the expert. My son and daughters, they are going to these colleges. Well, you see what they are paying for. They are paying for brainwashing. And, you walk around, you see these people telling you, oh, we are teachers. We are teachers. But this is who is teaching your child. Your child is not allowed to express their views. And you're paying for that. Do you understand how stupid that is? You pay your tuition, you go to college. You're there, to learn logic. They can teach you logic, but you know what I mean. I don't want to be vague, but when you go to college, you're there to think. You're there to have dissenting views. You're not there to say things or write things that people like. Right now, as I'm talking about this, my son, now he's in high school. He's dealing with this very same situation. One of his English teachers, some snowflake white lady, who thinks she's the social justice warrior. She wants to save the blacks. She is here to fight for the blacks. Imagine me sitting here, right? Saying, oh, I'm oppressed, but I need a white lady who teaches English with purple hair to be the one to speak for me or to save me. But anyways, this lady, she's supposed to be an English teacher, but instead of teaching English, she wants to talk about, how oppressed blacks are. And my son tells her that, look, I'm here to learn about English. You're making me uncomfortable. I don't want to talk about this. I am not oppressed. Okay? Then she gets upset at him, tries to flip the conversation about talking about, oh, women, have been oppressed, blah, blah, blah. This is how these people are. I have another video of another, lovely teacher. You're going to enjoy this video because this video exposes a hypocrisy that we all hear about in this society in America, but most people don't even dare pay attention. I'm sure you've heard about the alliance between black and brown, the blacks and brown. When they say black and brown, now that has changed form, but before it was supposedly blacks and Hispanics forming an alliance against white people. But the blacks are the only ones going around saying black and brown because their white masters told them that's what they should be saying. And, people would get upset at this, but pay attention. These agendas that these people run around, especially black people, saying, it's not black people's own agenda. It is all manufactured in these colleges by people like this professor here. And this professor, also gets her information from other people like her, which have the same connection all the way to the media. CNN. Do you know when I was in college, right? In this gender study class, one of their sources that they revered the most, they will send us to go get information from CNN. Yes, you heard it. CNN, the news, the articles, MSNBC, pretty much. So that's why my title said, the American schools and the media are here to brainwash people. And everything that I pretty much go and research, I I would poke holes in it, and they did not like it. They hated it. I had one of the students. This was in the beginning of Trump. She was very upset because she said her grandmother was deported out of the United States, and that's Trump's fault. And I asked a simple question. I said, why was she deported? She was like, that's not the point. I said, well, that's the point. It's important to establish that. Was she here legally or illegally? So that word triggered even the professor. So I was like, it looks like I'm in the midst of crazy people. Like, did the laws change the last time I checked? Because I know if you're illegal here, I know people who are Africans, came from the same place as me. I mean, they've gotten deported, but they were illegal here. I didn't hear those people complaining and saying it's Trump's fault. They knew they were illegal. And I told her, I said, ma'am, your grandma was illegal. So it doesn't matter if it's your grandma or whatever. She's illegal. But that's besides the point. What I'm saying here is, the bottom line is, there is this thing that they like to promote. There's even flyers about it. Black and brown, black and brown. But is there a true alliance between the blacks and the browns? Let's find out in this video. This is caught by police officers, camera, and you would hear, you would know for yourself and come up to the conclusion whether there's an alliance between the black and browns or not. I'm sorry, my speech is hidden, it's early in the morning, but just relax. Let me play this video for you. You would see for yourself.
I pulled you over because
you're a murderer. Yes, I started to record because you're a murderer.
You can't be on your cell phone while you're driving.
I was recording you because you scared me.
You can't use your cell phone while you're recording.
You.
May I have your driver's license?
It's at my apartment.
Thank you.
And I'm perfectly legal. And
So she's totally not lying, right? She started calling the police a murderer. This is a black woman, by the way. These are the same people, especially more likely to be saying black and brown, black and brown. And this is not all black people. I want you to know there is a segment of the population that is into this, but it's a whole lot of them, though, a whole lot of them. But deep down, you look at the action, you look at the things they say, there is a deep-seated hatred. And I'm going to elaborate more where this hate, what this hatred is about. And you would hear the lady, say something that takes us, that makes you understand where this hatred is coming from. But it's projection, right? It is projection. There's no doubt in my mind that it's projection, because what this lady is spewing here and expressing, it's only people like her and in her culture that say things like this. Other people don't see things this way. Let's hear more.
T-shirt. So there.
Congratulations.
You're a murderer.
There's only citing you for using your cell phone while you're driving. That's it.
Here you go, ma'am. Sign inside the red box right
For him being a Mexican racist. What is that name? Gas.
Sign the citation, ma'am.
Here you go, Mexican racist. You're always going to be a Mexican. You'll never be white. You know that, right?
So you see that footage there. That was of a black teacher who was pulled over by an officer who, we don't know if he's from Mexico or not, but I'm assuming because he's Hispanic. So she started calling the officer a murderer. I thought, didn't you hear people saying, oh, black people are being hunted by the police, black people are afraid, and she's saying she's afraid? Did that lady sound like someone who's afraid, or an abusive person? She's no different than the first video I shared with you. You are sending your children, including myself, we're sending our children into the hands of crazy people. These are crazy people. This woman is crazy and hateful. She's racist. I know people like to say, oh, black people are not racist. Oh no, black people are super racist. Not all of them. And I don't believe in that word saying racism is either good or bad. It's hatred or love. That's what it's about. That's what you're given. You either have love or hatred. But people try to base it on something. You see, she said, oh, you would never be white, because that's projection. She wants to be white. And most blacks, they hate Mexicans and others because they think, because you would hear, they would say it even. They want everybody to associate with them, because most blacks don't want to be black. They are the ones that have issues with blackness. They would even look at somebody like me, who is from the black factory, and say, oh, he's not black. Okay. But Rachel Dolezal, a white woman who deceived them for a while and accepted as a black woman. You have, so many of the people, like Kaepernick even, they call him black, but I'm not black. It's very funny. But yeah, this woman was spewing straight hatred. I don't care however you want to cut it. If there was no camera there, she would have, tried to ruin this man's life. She started lying, saying, oh, you're trying to murder me and my son. So this woman is a straight liar. So speaking of lying, the media has helped promote this type of lies. Ever since that man down in Minneapolis was killed by an officer by sitting on him, they just passed the verdict there. The officer got found guilty. This is the type of shenanigans that's been going on in America. This is nothing new. When I saw it, there is they wanted to turn it into, they made it a race thing. But it is not about race. There are certain groups of people, it's not because of race. They tend to come in contact with police a lot more than others. And this guy fit that profile. It turned out the guy was unemployed drug addict. And this man was trying to pass a counterfeit bill, a counterfeit $20 bill. In the store. He got caught twice, and they called the police. The same people you watched, who called the police on him, now went to the courtroom and acted sympathetic and said, oh, we should have never called the police. They called the police came there, and of course this guy acted like a jackass. It doesn't matter, the guy is high out of his mind, but sitting on him that way, that was uncalled for. Even his partner told him, roll him on his back, but he wouldn't do it. And he is found guilty. He's going to prison, even though the trial was a complete kangaroo court sham. It's not a fair trial, but he's still going to prison. That's besides the point. But now that, the media continue to use that to stoke fear in the minds of especially black people. But most of the black people, right? In the beginning I asked you, have you ever been kicked by a donkey? For most people, I assume the answer is no. But for me, it's yes. I've been kicked by a donkey before when I was a little boy. And here's how it happened. So, I used to live in a country called Sierra Leone in West Africa, in a town called Sefadu. In Sefadu, this is a diamond mining town. So I never got to see donkeys there. Everybody, the people are into mining and farming, but it's too wet. It's rainy over there, rainforest. So no donkeys. So when I moved to Gambia, for the first time I got to see donkey in real life. So my aunt had a donkey, one of my aunts. So we ride the donkey, we play around. So I decided to take this stick I was holding. I went behind the donkey. I saw two black round things, balls, his testicles hanging, and I started poking them with a stick. The donkey kind of gave me the vibe like, look man, I don't want no problem. You need to stop what you're doing, kid. I didn't pay attention. I just kept poking. The donkey's like, look man, you're leaving me no choice, but man, I gotta do this. And the donkey had it, and the donkey kicked me. Bam! And I stood there in shock, but that was the only time a donkey ever kicked me. You know why? I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson not to ever do that again, or walk in the back of a donkey. I learned my lesson. So you would think, right? Every human, something that, let's say, is dangerous, you consider dangerous, harmful, could take your life or put you in danger. If you've seen it or it happened to you, and you live to tell the tale, I would hope you wouldn't repeat it again. But that's not the story that we're about to share here, because this video I'm about to share is about a police shooting in Columbus, Ohio. And how did this shooting happen? I'm about to show you the video. The video can explain it to you better than I can, and I'm about to roll it for you.
After that deadly police shooting in Columbus, more body camera footage was released late this afternoon showing the officer shooting a 16-year-old girl accused of trying to stab people with a knife. Here's Lil Hewitt with the latest.
This never should happen. She's a loving girl.
The mother of Micaiah Bryant is understandably hurting right now and desperate for answers.
I don't know all the details about what happened here today, but it needs to stop. Policies and procedures need to be in effect. I'm hurt. I want answers.
16-year-old Micaiah was shot and killed by Columbus police yesterday after officers were dispatched to the area when someone called 911, saying they were being physically threatened. Police released more body camera footage today.
So you see that picture that they shared, right? That's the standard picture they always share. Starting from how I started researching these police shootings. They've been happening for years. The most popular ones. Trayvon Martin. They put a lovely picture of him when he was a way younger kid. Yes, at that time he was a sweet little boy. But not putting his actual picture, that raises suspicion. And then they go to Micah Brown. The same thing. They are not showing the current pictures. With this girl too, they're showing a picture when she had sweet look to her. And the mom. Let's speak of the man. I want you guys to realize something here. This mother that is coming here acting concerned. You must know this child. The daughter that she's saying she's fighting for. When she was alive, you can tell she didn't fight for her because she was in a foster home system. Foster home. How did that happen, Mom? But now you know their kids are used for checks. This is the new check. The police come and the police shoots them, they collect the money. And many people are saying, I hear them, they're like, well, she called the cops. Okay. Which is very common. That's why I said, have you ever been kicked by a donkey? Most of these things that I've been seeing, it is a black people calling the police themselves. It's chaotic. Why would you call people into this chaos? Where is the parents? Where is the father? Good question, right? Let's watch the video. We would find out exactly where the father was.
Showing the scene from different perspectives as an officer approached a driveway with a girl in black swinging a knife.
See right there, that person kicking the girl apparently is Micaiah, the girl that was shot. That's her father. But nobody is seeing this as a problem. How did this even happen? How? But they're not going to talk about that. It is the cops' fault. It's the cops' fault. Do you understand how ludicrous that is? If this guy was a real father, a real man, his daughter wouldn't be in a foster home to begin with. Do you understand what it takes to end up in a foster home system? I would assume they would first, if the mother is unfit, the child goes to the father. The father is unfit, their extended families, they are available. But there was no one to take her, no takers, and the father is right here in his presence. In fact, he is not trying to bring peace. He is participating in it. He is kicking a child because they calling the woman who, Micaiah, who was shot, that if they're calling her a child, this person here is about her age. The father is assaulting a minor, but they are not charging him. You see, for most black people, this should scare you, because here's why. That means that they have so much low expectation of you that even the normal law doesn't apply to you, because you're being treated like a retarded child, like you don't know better. That's even more insulting than being arrested, believe it or not. But somehow this family have no shame. Most regular people would be ashamed to come out and try to say they are defending a child that they abandoned. But not these people.
The officer, identified today as Nicholas Reardon, who's been on the force since 2019, shouts for her to get down before firing 4 shots.
Under those circumstances, the officer's actions, once again based on those totality of the circumstances, were reasonable.
Kevin Davis, a 39-year law enforcement veteran that now serves as a court-certified use of force expert, says as he analyzes the body camera footage, he sees just cause for the officer to protect the other woman, and that a taser or other method to try and stop the incident may have resulted in the other woman getting killed.
I'd love to say that we could shoot the knife out of her hand or shoot her in the leg. Those things just aren't realistic under these circumstances, situations where the officer is shooting to save life.
Meanwhile, Columbus Mayor Andrew Ginther spoke out about it today and the need for transparency.
There are a lot of things being said and shared out in the community that may or may not have been consistent with what we have seen with our own eyes here.
As BCI continues its investigation into the shooting, hundreds who were in the streets of Columbus awaiting the Chauvin verdict.
So, despite this, everybody, they know exactly what happened. She brought this upon herself. If she was the one that called the cops, why did she wait till the cops got there and she came out with a knife She was this close. She was really close to stabbing the woman. So this cop came and saved that woman's life. But now these useful idiots, as you see one here, wasting her time saying enough is enough. No, you know what's enough, ma'am? Being that obese, it should be a crime. You should spend that time exercising instead of promoting lie. They have swallowed the lie. It's sad to see, but that's what's going on. How did the police ended up getting called if that father, so-called father, was a real man? He obviously isn't. And now they're shamelessly out here trying to protest.
Spent last night protesting this shooting, a tragedy that resulted in a mother losing her child.
I will never see Ma'Khia Bryant ever again. And I want justice for my daughter.
As of note, the Ohio Alliance for Innovation and Population Health recently...
She said she wants justice for her daughter. Justice has been served. What is she talking about? You know, you can disagree with me, but don't you think justice has been served? If you're someone that, you know, you call the cops, right? You said you're being attacked. The police show up. It turned out you're the attacker. The knife was found in your hand and you end up getting shot, because that's what cops are there for. It wasn't like, oh, these cops were just driving by. They're like, oh, there goes, you know, black people, let's go hunt them. You know, because in this shooting, you know, American basketball player LeBron James weighed into, you know, this saga, because, you know, these days LeBron James, you know, he likes to speak about, you know, all these things that are happening. You know, we don't know exactly who he's serving, because when people talk about China's atrocities, LeBron James have shown his hand time and time again. He's a great basketball player. The guy can play ball, no doubt. He's really good. But let's be honest. The guy is illogical. He doesn't make sense. In this Ma'Khia Brown situation, he sent out a tweet threatening a police officer who, by the way, should be hailed as a hero for saving another citizen's life, a young citizen who happened to be black as well. But LeBron James tweeted out saying, "You are next." What type of message is he sending? This is why he should have listened to that white woman years ago who told him, you know what, I'll let her say it herself.
We're going to create a new banner. This is a jump doc alert. NBA superstar LeBron James is talking politics again.
I know you guys are excited to see her. I didn't know you guys were excited to see me too, but thank you. As much as you guys would love to hear from me, I would much rather love to hear from our next president, Ms. Hillary Clinton.
Now a historic moment. We can now project the winner of the presidential race. CNN projects Donald Trump wins the presidency.
And this time it's R-rated. Here's his barely intelligible, not to mention ungrammatical take on President Trump in a new ESPN podcast.
The number one job in America, the point of person, is someone who doesn't understand the people and really don't give a about the people.
But wait, there's more gripping insight. ESPN host Carrie Champion asked James and fellow NBA star Kevin Durant about what she described as Trump's racist comments.
I feel like our team as a country is not ran by a great coach. It's not even a surprise when he says something. It's not even surprise. It's like laughable. It's like it's laughable and it's scary.
But it's also scary.
Right,
because
right.
it shouldn't be numb to your racism.
Right.
amazing. This is literally a conversation between three black women. This is normal for those of you that's never been to America or you are new here. You're very familiar with this. Very vague. You don't know what they are saying, but they would say, you know what I'm saying. Kevin Durant, that's another, good basketball player, but beta male, always crying. These guys are super emotional. They say there's racism, but these guys are multi-millionaires. If you're a multi-millionaire, do you know how much freedom you can get with that money? Of course they are free, but these guys are being used by the Democratic plantation to promote this victimhood mentality with black people. Because imagine if these people are coming out, many months ago these people were celebrated. These people, being a sports star was something to look forward to. But pretty soon, I'm telling you, I'm beginning to see the decline. Children are beginning to see these people for who they are. Weak, ungrateful men. That's just what it is. I mean, I don't care, don't like what you're hearing, but this is a public service announcement I am doing, not just for you, but for my own kids. I want them to see the truth. It's not just about you, it's about reality. It's about the future. Why would I want my child to look up to these guys? Yes, you can play basketball, but you lack common sense. You should have shut up and dribble, just like the white lady said, but you didn't listen. Time and time again, you've been wrong. You have been used like a fool. And again, this is what I'm saying. Black people have been held to a lower standard, and black people accept it. And that's the biggest insult, if you ask me. See, because how can you be a billionaire and still be a crybaby? How is that possible? If you think there is injustice, you guys can come together, with the amount of money you have. You get your own lobbies, because that's how things is done in America. Like it or not, going to a political party, not bringing anything other than your votes and begging. Look, after they win, they're going to ignore you. You are just a tool to be used and discarded. So until you wake up and see that, you would always be crying. The reason why you're crying, because you're trying to rely on other people to give you common sense, to speak for you. Like this mother here, Makaya's mother, she has absolutely no shame for the world to know that her child was in foster home, meaning she abandoned her and her, sperm donor, they abandoned this child, and now they want to collect on her death. That's the truth. Let's finish this video.
Right. I shouldn't be numb to your behavior. I'm numb to this commentary, like, must they run their mouths like that? Unfortunately, a lot of kids and some adults take these ignorant comments seriously. Look, there might be a cautionary lesson in LeBron for kids. This is what happens when you attempt to leave high school a year early to join the NBA. And it's always unwise to seek political advice from someone who gets paid $100 million a year to bounce a ball. Oh, and LeBron and Kevin, you're great players, but no one voted for you. Millions elected Trump to be their coach. So keep the political commentary to yourself, or as someone once said, shut up and dribble. We'll be right back.
And when this white woman said this, they started to say, oh, she is racist. She is racist. Okay, you do realize LeBron James is a billionaire. He became rich off of basketball, by bouncing a basketball. That's how he became rich. But these people are upset. They are upset. Oh, you're saying LeBron cannot, speak on politics, he can, but people have to criticize him if he's saying dumb things, and that's what's been happening. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to close it here. Please make sure you subscribe. Please make sure that you share the truth with your loved ones, your friends and family. They don't have to like it. They don't have to accept it. But once they hear it, they cannot unhear it. Thank you.
Well, none of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots, yeah. None of them can hide from the truth, yeah. Children have to go back to the roots. I'm telling you now, the truth, the truth. Telling you, yeah, the truth, the truth. You have to go back to the roots, the roots. Go to the roots, to the roots. Yeah, man, you know, this is Benjamin over the Smiling Coast.